Here's last Sunday's message in 2 minutes-ish. So we talked about the fruit of the Spirit. And if you've been a Christian for any length of time, I'm sure that you've heard of the fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. And one of the mistakes that we make is we look at those as character traits that we should strive after. After all, we want to be more like Jesus, and he was all those things. So we should try to be those things. But that means that we didn't read that verse correctly, because it doesn't say the characteristics of a Christian are these things. It says the fruit of the Spirit. And of course, that would be the Spirit of God that it's talking about. So the way that we actually improve in those areas is not by seeking to improve in those areas. It's actually by walking in the Spirit, because they're fruit of the Spirit. So the more that we are in the Spirit, the more we will bear that fruit. And in Corinthians, Paul says, "He who sows to the flesh will of the flesh reap corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life." And that's the key to the whole thing here. When we sow to the Spirit, we're walking in the Spirit, and the fruit of the Spirit will then naturally come out of our lives. It will just be there, the way that fruit just appears on a tree when it is that kind of fruit tree. So how do we sow to the Spirit? Well, there's several ways we can do it. Number one is, what's your thought life like? Are we thinking? Is our mind set on things above, not on things of the earth? How are we spending our time? The people that we're with, are they people who engage us in conversation around things of the Spirit, or are we constantly looking at things of the world? What about church? Are we coming to church where things of the Spirit are being taught and discussed and learned? Or do we avoid that and only go on rare occasions, if at all? What about our prayer life? Spending time talking to the Father? How about getting into the Word of God, reading the Word? See, all these things that we call spiritual disciplines are ways that we sow into the Spirit. They're not forms of legalism. We're not using them to try to earn favor with God. Rather, we're building that relationship with Him. And the more we build that relationship with God, the more we're walking in the Spirit. And the more we walk in the Spirit, the more the fruit of the Spirit will be evident in our lives. Okay, that's it. Bye.